Do you feel comfortable promoting yourself? Do you feel uncomfortable not promoting yourself and feeling this death by a thousand cuts, never really being seen for the skill set that you have? Today, I want to talk about some of the alternatives to getting out of this trap where you have the skills, you have the ability, but because people don't know about it, because you're not able to communicate about it, it goes unnoticed. And unfortunately, the way that our school system and a lot of the learning structures that may have gotten you to where you are in your career, a lot of them didn't really talk about promoting yourself, right? They talked about the skill sets that you needed to build. They talked about the learning. They talked about the memorizing for the test, but not this truth that many of us find out later, which is when we're working in a career, it's not just about skill set. It's also about, can you speak to that skill set? Can you be out there as a brand, in effect, in today's market for people to find you and hire you? And one thing that you learn in startups and technology is that distribution is everything. This is a little bit similar. The distribution of your brand, of your skill set, the distribution of people understanding who you are and why they should hire you or work with you is critically important, if not maybe more important in some ways than some of the skill sets that you've learned. And there's many practical professionals that are hiding in the crowd. These practical professionals are doing things the right way, but they're not getting exceptional results. Their outcomes are okay, their careers are fine, but they're not remarkable. And there's always a risk that if something goes wrong, they're going to be left out there on an island without much support. So maybe you've avoided playing a lot of the politics. Maybe you've preferred to stay in the background instead of promoting yourself. And I know for myself, it's also easy to get jealous. You see what other people are up to online and you think, why do they get all the opportunities? At the same time, however, you know that copying what others are doing, putting out content in the way that you see some other people doing, it just doesn't feel right for you. It doesn't feel authentic. So you end up feeling a bit trapped and you're hiding. One of the greatest pains today in our abundant world comes from abundance. It's not a lack of scarcity. It's the abundance that we know we can achieve for ourselves that we're not yet achieving. That's some of the pain that we feel in our modern society. And so even though life is incredibly better in almost every dimension now versus 200 years ago, we feel the pain of untapped potential. And social media influencers reinforce this pain of our untapped potential. We know that sacrificing who you are for external approval is not a sustainable route for you to go. You want to feel like you're meeting your potential without feeling inauthentic. How do we do that? You want to have your gifts be seen, valued, and heard by the market. Building your own self-respect, building your own confidence. I think what we're really after ultimately as we grow in our careers is confidence and self-respect. Those are worth their weight in gold. So what do I recommend? What do I think is possible if we want to stand out and be seen without feeling like this inauthentic promotional persona that doesn't really match with who we are? This skill set gap, it's really a leadership challenge. How you lead others affects how they perceive you. There's risk in becoming a leader. There's risk in choosing to stand up and lead someone else, which means creating more, consuming less, presenting your own ideas, agreeing less, testing something new in the market, trying things that might not work, taking on challenges that other people are concerned about taking on, and doing this from a place of not worrying how we're going to be received, but rather enjoying the process of getting feedback from other people about how that's going. So this is really about vulnerability and leadership and taking the next step that's going to put yourself out there, not to sell or oversell or undersell, but to lead somebody else by putting yourself out in front. So can you stand up and stand out of the crowd through leadership, vulnerability, and some type of risk-taking? Beyond that, this even gets into how much we're willing to be seen. Are you willing to allow people to actually see you for your skill set? Some people are really uncomfortable being in the spotlight because it risks having people really see you. And that's actually a really scary aspect of self-development and career development as we get further towards the careers that we want, as we get further towards making our passions a reality. Right as we're getting closer to that point, well, now we're being more seen for who we are, what we want, what we stand for, and that can be a very frightening proposition. So don't be surprised if, as you get further along in your career, as you get closer to your goals, as you get more seen by the market, you might actually feel some more fear. That's pretty typical. And this is because you're not being fake. This is because you're not being a persona of someone else. You're actually presenting yourself. So my question for you is, what is the next vulnerable step that you can take to put yourself out there? What is the next action you can create to lead someone else, to lead a market, to take a bit of risk, because it's going to allow you to effectively stand out from others, not through persuasion and promotion, but through the actions that you're taking. So what's that next vulnerable step? How can you take that to put your ideas out there in the world? Even if it's a very small one, it doesn't have to be a big step. It's just, what is that small next step you can take to put yourself out there, to allow yourself to stand out from the crowd? So that's it. As always, I'll be back again soon. Let me know how I can help later.